Tricky says he's noticed way too many weird things caught on camera while exploring the aptly named Ghost Lady House in India.
Guys, கொசு வரலாம் இருக்கீங்க. எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு யாராச்சும் வாழ்ந்திருக்க கூட சான்ஸ்.
A disembodied voice whispers over a discarded woman's dress, perhaps the spirit of whoever once wore it when they were alive. But the creepy stuff is just getting started.
அது ஒரு ஃப்ளோல வந்துருச்சு, அந்த பயத்துல வந்துருச்சு. அதான் வருது, ரொம்பவே வருது.
He knows that the inhabitant of this haunted house wants him to leave, so the investigator makes a compromise and leaves a camera running while he steps outside. A strange moving shadow occupies the doorway, not necessarily the figure of a person per se, but it's a dark shadow nonetheless. Maybe it's a bat flying around, or maybe it's a phantom limb. When the ghost hunter re-enters the house to retrieve his equipment, the shadow person does not take kindly to this final intrusion. With 2 angry swipes, the poltergeist knocks a door off the hinges. Tricky gets the message and writes this place off his urbex list. Good decision. A YouTuber named Melmer4564 has a unique problem with her apartment home, an unwanted visitor who simply won't go away. You might not see it now, but it sees you. This small crescent shape looks like a human face, no matter what angle you look at it from. Even when the camera is fully tilted, you can still tell that is the left side of someone's face. How did this get here? And more important than that, why is it not going away? Unlike many anomalies captured on security camera clips, this one will be hard to debunk as it appears behind falling rain. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit by Genuine Intrigue, the Redditor caught this on camera and is asking Redditors what it could be. The security footage captures a shot of the Redditor's backyard, where a small playground set stands at one end. Toward the middle of the yard, a pale foggy figure is seen moving across. Even when it starts raining heavily, you can still see the figure. It makes its way toward the right side of the playground set where it disappears. The form looks like it's hunched over. Some in the comments say it appears to be using a cane. One user asks the Redditor why they check the camera. Genuine Intrigue answers in the comments, saying, "Funny enough, something has been going to the bathroom in my yard overnight, so I've been checking the footage to see if I can catch the animal or whatever has been doing it, and I thought I noticed movement. Is this ghost leaving him a message? Or is this, like Alligator90 suggests, a person and not a ghost? Either option is incredibly creepy. I hope they can figure out who is doing this for peace of mind."
Alright guys, I'm gonna show you one of the reasons we hate this house.
There's a YouTuber named Not Your Average Wife, who apparently does not live in your average home either. Her dog Catherine absolutely refuses to go down the steps leading to their basement. Follow the dog's eyes because I think it might be seeing something down there that none of us can.
Catherine, come on baby. Come on pretty. Come on baby.
Not even a nudge from behind can convince Catherine to go down the stairs.
Come on Catherine.
And just to prove it's not a general fear of steps, they show her using different stairs without a problem. Maybe the dog almost fell down basement steps or something and is now afraid of them. At least that's the only non-paranormal explanation I can think of. And if it is paranormal, based on how Catherine is acting, it must be something sinister in that basement. Mr. Fitry is exploring the haunted PLKN building, a youth program in Malaysia that's said to be haunted ever since a mysterious case of mass food sickness led to the abandonment of the whole program. He's caught some creepy moments 17 minutes into the live stream when someone donates.
Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar.
His camera freezes and the image whitens as something passes by. The only time his camera seems to freeze is when paranormal activity is happening in front of him. He runs into the room it was literally just in and the ghost is gone. There's no jump cut editing and this was on live stream, so the figure should have still been there if it was a person. He stands outside of the window to see if it will return. The figure is in the next room. Now is the chance for a paranormal encounter up close. By the time he gets back, he needs to lay down and think about what he just saw. Apparently being surrounded by that much paranormal energy has drained all of his. 3 photos and videos were shared on Facebook in Indonesia, showcasing the same strange phenomenon in the sky, posted by Mr. Potek in November of 2019, with a video credited to Setiawan. The unidentified object was filmed in Aceh, backlit by a bright moon. This mysterious flying or floating object appears to just hang there at the side of the moon. The object isn't shaped like a flying saucer, but its origins are equally as mysterious, viewed at several different angles. I don't come any closer to recognizing what this object is. The local police were reportedly terrified by its appearance. Should they be? What do you think it is? A father and his 2 children explore this abandoned house as a strange way to bond together, but I think it might have ended up ripping them apart. They cross into the dark kitchen and immediately hear a wild growl, followed by low whispers and a pair of glowing eyes. They are hurrying out of the house as fast as they can, but debris is everywhere, and they have to move slow. Just when they are about to leave, they find the way blocked by their absolute worst fears. The thin ghoul is barely reminiscent of a human. Its features wide and dark and taking up large portions of its face. Its eyes and nose are missing. Its mouth nothing more than a wide cavern, extending from cheek to cheek. Miss ROCIO 4441 published this haunting video in June of 2011, alleging a ghost at the local McDonald's who appeared there at night between 2:30 and 2:50 a.m. In the video, you can certainly see what appears to be a shadow floating around the restaurant. According to the YouTuber, the security camera only turns on when it captures movement. One person in the comments claims to work at this very McDonald's. Ya boy Dan 916 said, "I work night shifts in this store and I get the creeps all the time." Viewers disputed this video as well though, while some saying it could be a bug on the lens. I don't know though, but watching the shadow move around this footage certainly gives me the creeps. Could it be a past customer or McDonald's employee who passed away at this restaurant? I guess we'll never know. This video very quickly turns into one of the worst fears that I think most people have. Your parents walking in on you doing something embarrassing. This is believed to be a Twitch streamer from Russia, but I was unable to track down who this streamer is. If you know, let me know in the comments. But anyways, she's in the middle of lip syncing a Japanese song for the viewers watching her Twitch stream. That's when she hears her door opening. She quickly jumps to turn the music off, clearly embarrassed he's just walked into her stream. Apparently, this is her stepdad, and they have a short conversation before she starts closing the door on him. It's always been a fear of mine to get walked in on while singing along to my favorite songs, but I can only imagine how worse it would be to have it happen while in a cosplay outfit and live streaming. It might be time to buy a lock. This group of paranormal investigators is seeking out the Witch of the Ramones, and it seems they have found her. Published by Ricky Velasquez in February of 2021, the group heads into an abandoned building for a night of fear. The first piece of evidence that someone or something else is present occurs when they're looking into a building through barred windows.
Uy.
Something inside quickly pulls a wicker chair out of view. Later on, as they're standing in the darkness of the property, the cameraman gets frightened and starts running away. Though it's unclear what scared him, soon after they capture something in the beam of their flashlight, which causes them to start running again.
Go away.
And then a figure peers out from a tree in the darkness.
Lámpara, güey, vi algo que se asomó en el árbol, güey. No sé, abajo, por ahí. Abajo, a la derecha, ahí abajo. Por ahí abajo. No sé, güey, se está asomando como duendecito, güey.
This last vision is what convinces them that they found her. But is it a witch? And did she just mix them up with a brew of fear? A YouTuber named Stromedy takes a drone above a gigantic field and finds 3 people in long black robes gathered around a small object on the floor, possibly a book or an offering of some kind. Here you can see the square object again, though it's now gray for some reason instead of black like before. They throw it to the ground and begin to circle around it in what could be a second phase of the ritual, probably chanting the whole while too, I would imagine. And I don't know if this is a reflection of the sun or what, but at 13 minutes and 7 seconds, this eerie red light washes over them all. Stromedy loses control over the drone as soon as it is spotted by them. Now you can see they are all wearing white masks. One of the members, the only one with a hood over his head, and possibly the leader, reaches up. The drone obediently flies closer, despite Stromedy holding the opposite direction on the controls. The leader releases control of the drone and hastily picks up the square object. Then they retreat to 3 corners and form a mysterious triangle, backs turned. Should anyone recognize this ritual, please let me know what it all means, because it's got me freaking out. A group of friends from high school are joking around in Call of Duty. As the round comes to an end, somebody enters the private party and turns on their mic.
I'm saying they saw it.
Yeah, they got 2 of them in the...
This is soon followed by evil laughter.
For the first
We're
time.
literally getting drilled on.
Like I said, these are close friends from high school who know each other's voices very well. If any of them were joking, at least one of them would pick up on it and know who. And besides that, this next noise does not even sound like a human.
Everything close that we hear.
Like that was?
I think I don't even...
The microphone at times sounds way louder and more clear than any of theirs, and sometimes like it's on another planet. Hopefully it was just hackers and not something from the other side.
Yeah, they got 2 of them in the...
A YouTuber named D-Edge detects strange activity in his hallway after leaving his PS4 camera on record. This small figure appears no less than 2 times, despite the apartment being empty, at least according to the uploader. 20 seconds later, the figure makes its second entrance, hanging around the top of the doorway each time before disappearing into the darkness. I was thinking that maybe this was light coming from the window across the room, but the angle doesn't exactly match up. Something is definitely there, but let me know what you think it could be. A YouTuber named RFam is doing a gym vlog when their punching bag begins moving on its own. Slowly at first, but gaining momentum over time. So even if she pushed it herself, it should slow down over time and eventually settle down. But that's not what happens at all. She dances for almost 10 minutes and the punching bag sways back and forth the entire time. What I can't understand is how she dances so close and doesn't notice the whole time. I guess she must have really been into her routine. There's no strings attached to the piece of equipment, and aside from this explanation, I can't think of any other way she could have faked it. This This medicine ball also starts moving in the exact same way with no one touching it, at least no one that I can see, and no shadows on the wall to indicate someone off camera. Again, I can't believe she walks right by, but I suppose she simply feels comfortable at home and isn't exactly looking for anything out of the ordinary. A while back, I analyzed a video of a weird spider with a strange growth under its abdomen. Well, I did some more research and found this video, which finally explains what it was: an egg sac. First, they come out one by one, and within less than 2 minutes, hundreds have burst out. Their mother patiently stands guard until they are all free and then leaps away, leaving behind her brood in the hopes that they will scatter to every room in the household and successfully grow to full size. A ghost hunting channel called Hunting the Haunted investigates an old abandoned farmhouse and gets plenty of paranormal activity caught on tape. In the kitchen, they see a possible ghost orb appear while Jay is asking questions.
What's your name? As soon as I turned around, like he was right behind me.
This could be a gnat, except it shows up when Jay wants to know the spirit's name, and while Jay talks about something appearing behind him, the light anomaly appears behind him and goes away. Another ghost orb floats up upon the mention of this word.
Did I say? Yes. This is definitely a creepy place at night.
They go investigating the surrounding property.
That's what I'm saying. I swear there was a woman.
At 31 minutes and 42 seconds, and again at 34 minutes and 20 seconds, they hear a woman's laughter.
I'm telling you, I heard something. I heard a woman or something. You said say that again, and then I heard like a high-pitched... Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, say something. Yeah.
A mysterious figure is illuminated despite being beyond the reach of their light. There's really nothing else it could be because nothing is out there, at least nothing that should be reflecting light.
You know what else I don't hear? What? I don't hear that owl no more.
And when they turn to leave, this unexplained light suddenly blinks out. As soon as it does, the same ghost orb from the kitchen returns for one last look. Somehow they miss all these brief ghost sightings at the time, but it's caught on camera for them to later discover. This happens a few minutes after they hear the woman laugh, so they suspect this encounter is paranormal, and I'd have to agree. Linfamous TV goes ghost hunting in the woods of Long Island, and they say this place is truly haunted. They are expecting the ghost sighting of a lifetime, and what they've caught on camera does not let them down.
Yeah. Oh, what the f was that?
They aren't sure what they heard, and so they press forward despite feeling scared early on. The deeper they go, the more haunted things start to look and feel.
Over here, it looks like it's something from a horror movie.
Right. These woods right here are really spooky.
Something is wrong with this part of the woods. They can feel it, but being ghost hunters means doing creepy stuff all the time, and so they go down this path against better judgment.
Got a cold spot.
Completely blocking out the sky.
I thought it was her friend, but it's not. At 5 minutes and 58 seconds, Lynn's friend is to the right. He is still to the right at 6 minutes when Lynn looks left and then up at the trees. When she brings the camera down, a ghost is there. There is a ghost on the left. Her friend, meanwhile, is still standing to her opposite side as they try to consult her GPS system and get weird interference.
Wearing a...
Well, on the map, what does it take us to? Does it look like it ends?
I'm sure. Like in Huntington or something. Like how to say. What?
Their GPS loudly messes up and takes them in a wide loop for almost 3 hours before it straightens out. Weird how their equipment does this the same minute they have this paranormal encounter. Oh, and one last thing. Lynn's friend is wearing a baseball hat. This ghost looking straight at them does not. Therefore, I have a strange feeling that this ghost sighting video could be real. A disheveled bandit tries to break into this home, and Luan Mendez published his findings in October of 2021. While looking at security footage, the crew sees the bandit walk carelessly into view. Ken Heron and his ghost investigating assistant Gary explore an old burned down house covered in soot and ash. Trash litters the inside, and every surface feels sharp and broken, so they can't stay for long. As they are leaving, Ken gets the feeling that they are being watched, a feeling that Gary soon confirms.
Anything behind me? I'm scared.
Dude, there is something up.
Sure enough, this figure is observing them from the very corner of the window, barely noticeable if not for its single glowing white eye. They look to be crouched down to make themselves even harder to see, but here's the thing, nobody should be standing in that spot at all. Ken and Gary were just in that house, and they both know that's a portion of the room with a collapsed floor. What happens when a ghost chases you? This scary video answers that question. Published by Copycat in December of 2021 and originally posted to TikTok by Haunting Facts. These homeowners hear incessant banging in their basement and went to see what was going on. The cameraman stands at the top of the stairs as the unseen banging repeats, scaring a small dog. His partner stands off to the side in the hallway in fear. The man heads downstairs to the landing and greets the noisemaker. The sound stops. Nothing more is heard in the darkness.
Hello?
Until...
Oh my god!
Did the ghost just run upstairs toward him? And did it get him? I hope this man is okay, but seeing as this video made it onto the internet, it appears he made it out alive. The Mananagal is a vampire-like mythical creature from the Philippines, sporting fangs and wings and capable of severing its upper torso from its lower half. Published by Romeo Candid in November of 2007, this scary video appears to have captured the creature on camera. The footage shows a group of young folks hanging out in what appears to be a demolished building in the dark.
Hindi na kita sasama dito, masyado kang bad.
Kasi naman, pwede sa kotse.
Pwede doon, pag damoy ng nanay ko, hindi na ako papagamitin ng kotse.
As they chat, the cameraman scans the room and captures this. The dirty figure has long dark hair with wings sprouting from behind. Is this creepy Mananagal your worst fear made flesh? You'd better not fall asleep. These creatures are known to suck the life source out of those who do. Imagine being the spirit of a child, still stuck in the world. Why are you there? What do you do in the interim? Clearly the answer is to play around with the living. Originally posted to TikTok by Dries Perry, a Redditor wonders what Reddit thinks of these TikToks. Let's take a look. In the first clip, Perry says he's convinced that this room in his home is haunted. After shutting the door so it doesn't scare his daughter, he speaks directly to the ghost, inviting him to reveal his presence in some way. At first, the ghost is hesitant, but soon after, a can on the table flips over onto its side. After returning to the room, he asks the spirit to move something else. A toy car begins to slowly roll across the same tabletop. Seems like someone is ready to play. Redditor Hollow Planet writes, "This is exactly what the poltergeist I had was like." During round 2 of attempting to communicate with the spirit in the toy room, Perry decides to try and play too, since many of his commenters on TikTok were theorizing that it was a child ghost. After asking the child ghost to play, a ball is tossed his way from a nearby shelf. He shows the camera up close that there are no strings attached to the wiffle ball that rolls to stop at his feet. He asks the child ghost to knock 3 times if he's nice. After you hear 3 clear knocks, Perry says he's done.
Could you knock 3 times if you're a nice ghost? I don't know. Okay, guys. Yep, I'm done. I'm done.
Already? The kid just wants to toss a ball. Redditor ZRyan3564 writes that he's jealous the ghost is so vocal. It seems he or she wants you to accept it, so it's doing everything you ask. Ryan says, would you accept this playful ghost, or would you lock up this room and throw away the key? Barack Ali offers this video as proof that his house is haunted, but maybe there's more to it than that. Listen to this part and tell me if you can hear a fan or some kind of air current, or really anything that could be causing the door to slam like this. I've seen a draft cause a door to slam shut one time, but never over and over. Have you? Barack records the top and bottom of the door to show that no one is near it, so this absolutely has to be a 1 in a million problem with the ventilation system, or else the supernatural at work. A Redditor named Stalker the Zone seems like he is in a real hurry, as he records a wheelchair at the hospital. He is definitely waiting for something to happen, but I get the feeling he doesn't want to get caught by anyone using his phone, so maybe this is his place of work.
Come on.
Just when he is about to give up, the wheelchair comes to life and moves on its own. His vindication gives way to horror when he realizes the wheelchair is turning his way.
See, I fucking don't. No.
I guess someone off screen could be pulling the wheelchair towards them, but my understanding is that wheelchairs are fairly heavy, and any wire that could pull it would also be thick enough to see on video. This clip shows a normal psychedelic filter, the electric color surrounding the girl in frame. She then turns her camera to span the room. The filter follows for a moment before becoming absent from the shot, as the room is empty. Or is it? The person detecting filter appears to detect someone in the chair sitting opposite. No one is there, and yet the silhouette of a human form starts to appear in the shot in shocking black and white. It seems to be seated in the chair. The girl turns the filter back to her face, and the shocking figure follows, blending into the psychedelic filter colors around her again. Redditor Hydra Wrench 97 is both tentative and jumping to the paranormal and rightly creeped out. She writes, usually these Snapchat filter ghost clips are glitching and basically the camera falling for pareidolia, but this one is weird. Might just be the spookiest glitch ever, but it is very weird and would scare me if that was my living room. Maybe it sees something we don't. What happened in this haunted room? Published by SS3 Paranormal in December of 2021. This creepy clip captured something unexpected on camera. The series of clips is filmed in one very haunted room in this home. The first catches an object turning on by itself. The second, taken during the daytime, shows several objects moving, including a tiny carousel on the table and the wrapping paper leaning against the door. The third clip shows a bunch of lights flashing, though it's not clear where they're coming from. Is this paranormal activity winding down, or is it just getting started? As if underground parking lots weren't creepy enough, this ghost is on a mission to make them creepier. Published by the channel Scary Videos in May of 2009, this security footage caught a ghost moonwalking in a parking lot. The clip captures the lot at first empty with only a few cars parked throughout, but then a barely visible figure appears. The mysterious figure has long dark hair and is adorned in a white dress. It moves backward towards one of the vehicles and then completely vanishes. Is this the spirit of Michael Jackson or another otherworldly moonwalker? Isaac Brumaghim feels a bite on his line and pulls up something larger than he ever imagined. Whoa! It looks like he hooked the shark, but when you watch it again, you'll see the shark was actually going after a much smaller fish. Isaac quickly unhooks and releases the fish before the shark has the chance for a second go. Isaac is so incredibly lucky that the line was behind him and not close to the kayak, otherwise this shark could have practically landed in his lap. A ghostly request is unexpectedly answered in the scary video posted to TikTok by Ghost Vault. The narrator notes that nbucky99 was exploring a mausoleum in Somers, Connecticut with his friend when he found exactly what he was looking for. Upon approaching the fence of the mausoleum, the group hears scuffling inside.
Hello?
As they ask the spirits if anyone would like to say something, footsteps start running toward them.
Would anyone like to say something?
Holy shit!
Frightened, the crew flees the scene as fast as their legs can carry them. Was their communication with the spirits answered? If so, it seems like the ghost's answer is to buzz off. Is there life out there? Posted to TikTok by Paranormal Videos, this clip appears to confirm there is. The footage shows a lake in Brazil in the early morning. On the horizon above some distant hills, mysterious bright saucer-shaped lights appear. 1, 2, and then 3. One of the lights disappears and then reappears a ways away. Not many in the comments offer theories as to what these lights could logically be, if not unidentified flying objects. Are they truly flying saucers? What's your guess? Personally, I'm sticking with the extraterrestrial theory.
Like screaming or something in this tunnel. I'm gonna go check it out.
You may think you're ready for this list, but some scary videos you're just not meant to see. The boy in this video says he hears something in this tunnel that sounds to him like a scream, so he decides to go investigate. But no, the boy enters the darkness with nothing but a void at the end of it. For a while, all you hear is his own footsteps. Then you hear this. Sounds like Alien vs. Predator up in here. The kid stops for a moment, and in that quiet, a couple footsteps splash through the water. He then says hello to the creature he cannot see before heading forward again, but he doesn't get very far. The rattling sound echoes throughout the tunnel before the thing starts to screech in a way that makes your insides tremble. As he runs, the creature quiets for a time but lets out a final terrifying screech as the boy exits the tunnel, likely wondering what in the world he almost happened upon. Is this for real? If so, what lies in the depths of this underground? Dark Dominator thinks it's the rake, while the last one suggests it's a feral hog, but I've never heard a rattle like that from a hog before. Lesson learned: the next time you hear screaming in the darkness, it's best to run in the opposite direction. This grainy cell phone video comes from the SNDT Women's University in Mumbai, India. They are walking down a long hall filled with various classroom conversations when they see another student coming the opposite way. Well, I guess they didn't technically see them, since it was only a pair of shoes with nobody attached. Tell me, am I losing my mind? Or if this really is a ghost student going to class? As this man enters a grocery store and walks down a random aisle, there's nothing about his appearance to suggest that he may be crazy, nor is there any hint of the horror that he just caused. Moments before this video was taken, the FBI suspects that this unknown man threw an improvised device into a restaurant. The device went off and caused unspeakable panic to those eating inside, but fortunately everyone got out of the way in time. Now he appears to walk around his store for a bit in an attempt to blend in with the public. He leaves without buying anything and then sags against the wall outside. Maybe he is feeling remorse here, or maybe he is exhausted. When he gets up, he throws away the clothes he was wearing earlier, which suggests that he was sane enough to know this was wrong. The FBI is giving $20,000 in reward money to anyone who can provide his identity. His only real identifying features is a clubbed foot. Even though this was over 2 years ago, he has yet to be apprehended. No other known footage of him exists. A power line wraps itself around a traffic light in Manchester, New Jersey, and this utility worker has to safely retrieve it. He grabs the fallen end and whips it over with all of his might. The line dislodges after 3 tries, but unluckily for him, it lands directly in a pothole filled with water, and the current carries clear across the road. The whole reason he doesn't drop lifelessly to the ground must be his yellow suit, which I assume is fully insulated to protect against high voltage electricity. He runs away as a spectacular light show darkens the sky above. The video is taken from the dash cam of a Manchester police officer who is directing traffic away from the power line as a precaution against this very event. That's not sludge you're looking at. Published by Casey Spotlight, a creepy sludge-like creature was captured on film in the shallows of a lake. The figure looks squidgy, mushy, rubbery, and above all slimy. Its form seems malleable. Its movements is like an amoeba, altering its shape. It also appears to have a mouth, but one with no teeth and only grandma gums. Well, some in the comments say it's a leech. If that's the case, it's the biggest leech I've ever seen. What do you think it is? Any theories? Well, this isn't an extraterrestrial. It very much looks like something straight out of a sci-fi film published by the Mastercaster in December of 2020. This group just caught a lamprey, an ancient jawless fish with a mouth made of rows of vampire-like teeth.
We just caught a lamprey in the Jordan Creek right now. Look at that dude.
The parasitic fish is native to the northern and western Atlantic Ocean, and its funnel-like mouth sucks on all types of fish prey, including catfish, trout, sturgeon, walleye, and more. This monster was captured in the group's local creek, but lampreys have also been found in the Great Lake region. Many in the comments are familiar with the lamprey, with commenter John Sparks warning, "Be careful, it will latch onto you." Apparently this thing preys on humans too. What is lurking on this roof at night? Published by Scary Labs in July of 2021, this paranormal team captured something unearthly prowling atop a roof in the darkness. The figure captured is bright green, almost digital in nature. It appears to be something in a hooded robe. First looking toward the crew, the figure turns and walks away. The crew doesn't seem to notice the figure at the moment, though it's captured again on camera as they walk toward the building. When they light a candle, the resistance registers again, but this time just its outline. This time they see it and run off in fear. The figure can be seen again still looming on the roof behind them. While many in the comments say this is next level editing, some are more inspired by the Oscar-worthy acting. We can probably gather that this is fake, but those who believe it's real are legendary.
ऊपर क्या है भाई? ऊपर देखो भाई. भाई. मोमबत्ती फेंको भाई. ओए मोमबत्ती फेंको. चलो भाई. चलो चलो चलो.
Smallmouth Crush is making a fishing video on the Potomac River near Washington, D.C. He's drifting by when further down the riverbank something strange catches his eye. A head is sticking out of the water, long black hair. Her back is to him. He looks at the head for a long time, unable to mentally process what he's seeing and not sure what to do. He gives the object a poke just to make sure it is what he fears. It has a face and it is exactly what he's afraid of. I think we are all thinking it's the same thing, especially from this distance. But when he pokes at it some more, an artificial neck joint pops free from the mud. This is a mannequin head, not a real one.
Dude, what is happening? Look at this thing. This is nasty.
Not finding a body is a relief, I suppose, but it also begs the question as to why anyone would take a blindfolded mannequin head out into the woods in the first place. I've heard of people simulating their demented desires onto mannequins before moving on to the real thing as part of their transformation into a full-blown psycho. There's a lot of creepy people out there, I guess, and to further prove my point, he looks up to find something even more sickening nearby.
Look at that freaky thing. I'm out of here.
It looks like somebody has been using this spot to do some pretty twisted fantasizing, and as he speeds away, I can't help but wonder what if that's not a doll. Bryce Newbold describes this Ohio hiking experience through the Shawnee State Forest as a very rough trip, and by the end of this video you'll know exactly why. It's a hot summer's day and he has many miles ahead. By 4 miles he is drenched and walks about half a mile to drink from the river. His next source of water won't be until nightfall, and by then he will have walked 12 miles. By the second day he is feeling unusually miserable and drained and decides to take a shorter route.
I am absolutely covered in either little tiny ticks or chiggers. They're probably chiggers. They are all over me right now. I tried washing them off, but I'm gonna have to go through and pick them off one by one, it looks like.
He's looking pretty pale by the end of the day, even though he's been getting plenty of sun. That's because poor Bryce has been getting his legs chewed off by tiny ticks that won't give up, and by the end of the day it's looking pretty bad.
And I have a million bites from those little chiggers last night. You can see they're still on there.
By the time he gets back home, his legs and feet are covered in marks. I'm not a doctor, but I definitely would be going to one soon if I were him. That looks really bad, and I think it's probably time for a test or two to make sure you didn't get anything from them. I really hope he's okay and that nothing like this ever happens to him again. This footage comes from somewhere in the Middle East. A group of teenagers are curiously exploring an old school. They go up a flight of steps and pause when they hear a dog whining on the other side of the door. They all run down the steps and gather at the bottom. They're afraid of being attacked by a group of stray dogs now, but they decide to press on and explore the lower areas. The group finds bravery in their numbers and begins to joke and laugh again as they make their way down a long hallway. They open a door and find graffiti on the wall. Other people had been here before them. Maybe this place isn't so bad after all. The teens grow a little more nervous as they continue to poke around. They are laughing less and starting to go silent. Something just isn't right about this section of the building. A YouTuber named Zabin Jaguar translated their comments. He says at this point one of the teens say that their phone shut itself off even though it was fully charged only a moment ago. Another person was able to keep recording, though they probably now wish they hadn't. They enter one classroom in particular and get a dreadful feeling. Suddenly a figure actually appears out of thin air and walks towards them. The ghost is missing his head, but there's somehow no blood. A loud chanting begins as soon as the ghost walks towards them, but this may be prayers from a nearby mosque. Amazingly, the group all appears to have missed the ghost, which explains why they calmly continue to keep exploring. They wouldn't see the apparition until much later, but when they did, they would never forget what was heading straight towards them in that room. There's a famous pub in Sydney, Australia called the Carlisle Castle Hotel. For years, this local watering hole has been haunted by the ghost of Old Pete, a bitter ex-employee who left the earth quite some time ago, but not his job. His ghostly antics have been caught on camera no less than 3 times. The first time Pete was caught on tape, he was helping a customer. The unsuspecting man opens the door to the cooler when Pete decides to grab 2 bottles of red wine for himself. His ghost grip must have not been too tight though, because both bottles go crashing to the floor. Looking at the footage, there's no way that the shelf gave out or anything like that. The bottles were thrown to the ground with deliberate force with no one nearby. Another incident occurred when the bar was full of witnesses. Everyone is happily enjoying themselves when a hanging red wine glass suddenly dislodges itself and smashes into the counter. Glass shards fly everywhere and the entire bar takes notice. Although this could have simply been a freak accident, what are the chances that, of all the red wine glasses, the one that's directly underneath the server happens to be the one to fall and break? The timing is almost too perfect to be a coincidence. Old Pete strikes again. The third and final tape reveals a glimpse of old Pete himself. The bar is empty this time when the angry ghost suddenly materializes in front of the security camera. If you look closely, you can make out old Pete's head at the bottom of the screen. He appears to be waving. Many other bartenders and customers all claim to have seen old Pete for themselves in one way or another. It isn't uncommon for tapes to turn on by themselves, and the bartenders have seen what they can only describe as strange things while counting down their registers after close. To make this all even stranger, all of the bottles that go crashing to the floor are always high-end red wines. This just so happened to be old Pete's favorite drink, at least when he was still with the living. A scary ghost video from other studios has people wondering what's even real anymore. Normally, I'm hesitant about any channel that has studio or production in the name for obvious reasons, but as one person commented, this video looks compelling. This channel says they have a studio in the name because they produce beats, not ghost videos. Okay, valid reason. Let's look. So his friend Cody has been experiencing some weird activity that he thinks could be paranormal. Creepy stuff like the sink running and flickering lights with no one touching the switch. Cody soon got into the habit of recording video whenever he was in the house, just so he could have some evidence to show his friends to prove he's not a liar. This short clip is one of his most terrifying for sure.
Nope, 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 nope.
He comes back to a trashed kitchen after stepping out to talk to his girlfriend on the phone for 15 minutes. Everyone can see the open cabinets and tilted chair, but only Cody noticed the figure peering at him from the very top of a tall doorway at an impossible angle. He says the resolution is higher on the original video, and this is what the still image looks like without the compression from uploading on YouTube. The difference between the two is so major that I'm almost positive this has to be a Photoshop. But if it's real, he should never walk into that room again, or the whole house for that matter. Dominic Marquez of Albuquerque, New Mexico, says you're definitely going to believe his ghost sighting caught on CCTV video is real when you see it. Somebody is walking down the street when all of a sudden, they're simply not.
There he is.
Ghost.
That's real, dog.
The person morphs into a floating orb and briefly becomes human again, before going back into its second form. And to top off an already bizarre video, this creepy thing happens next.
Bro, I'm telling you, there's nobody there.
What the?
The neighbor's rather bright motion detector lights turn on when the ghost walks by. Nothing's there. If it was a CCTV glitch on Dominic's camera, then why would motion lights go on across the street? It looks like he was right about me believing this paranormal video is real. Bizarre live news footage of a ghost spotted in India has recently gone viral. A group of friends are posing for the camera on New Year's when what's been reported as a real apparition floats past. At 30 seconds, the figure definitely takes a distinctively human shape and appearance. I can see its head, body, and two arms reaching out for them. One of them turns around and he doesn't exactly freak out or anything like that, but if you track his line of sight, he's definitely looking right at where it is, and there's no reason for him to be looking over there. It might be smoke, except they are standing near a gas pump, so I hope that's not it. Give me your take on this because it might actually be one of the creepier moments from live TV. YouTuber Kits published this clip of a man screaming at a McDonald's drive-thru in September of 2017. Kits noted this was typical Miami and wrote that the man was shouting at the top of his lungs,
Help me, please!
This man is off it.
Even though it was only 4 a.m. Absolutely no reason for this man to be screaming and throwing himself around so early in the morning, he wrote. The uploader said that before he started filming, the man in front of him was going crazy in the back seat of his car, kicking the roof of the car over and over. making it shake violently for around a minute prior to the recording. You can see the car shaking slightly in the video before the man gets out of the back seat and starts shouting into the night. The uploader claims it was substances that are causing him to act like this, and I agree with that theory. There just doesn't seem to be any other explanation. It's 2 in the morning, and a man is walking home from work in Dayton, Ohio, when the ground opens up beneath his feet and swallows him whole.
Just walking casually walking, and the concrete underneath me collapsed.
Before he knows it, he is staring up at a complete stranger who is pointing a camera at him from about 10 feet above. Also sticking up from the ground like a spear next to him is a broken piece of steel bar used to reinforce the sidewalk. It gave way just a few feet from where he landed and nearly went straight through him. Somehow, despite falling through a jagged chunk of sidewalk, he is unscratched and able to move. Rescue workers eventually get him out with a ladder before any more of the sidewalk breaks off and seals him inside. The city later explains that this was likely due to a high volume of basements in the area, so if you happen to live here, watch your step. A YouTube channel called DYP Official finds some kind of abandoned facility way out of the woods. One climbs to the top of a big blue container and sticks their head over the end, which is scary for reasons I'll get back to soon enough. 2 other large vats grab their attention.
Found a whole thing of sulfuric acid in the woods. Sulfuric acid. Yo, please stop, bro, please. Bro.
He would have kept turning the release valve had they both not shouted at him to stop. I don't know if it was full, but if so, he would have been in deep trouble and might not have survived an acid spray. In the shed, they find a gas mask and large science beakers used to hold chemicals. One of the vials is still full, so they take it outside for a better look until their friend grabs it from them.
Boom!
Luckily for them, it doesn't break. Breathing in any unknown chemical, whether indoors or outdoors, could end up with them on the floor. Inside of an abandoned building, they find a label that got me curious. I googled what polyseed inoculum is, and the answer sheds light on what this facility really is. Basically, this is used to break down biological waste. They've been playing around in a biological waste treatment center the whole time, touching things that ordinarily require a full biohazard suit to handle. Whatever chemicals they were handling probably were not safe, and the air quality can't be much better. The type of place that could really mess you up after maybe a few visits. In other words, certainly not a place where you'd ever want to stick your face over an old chemical vat and take a big whiff. And you can see it's clearly the upper half of a young girl who is dressed in old-fashioned clothes from another time period. She is floating in midair as she curiously peeks in on the 2 children to see what they are doing. One of the girls still doesn't see the ghost. She shouts at something that's on television and accidentally startles the ghost away. The girl with the camera follows the ghost as it retreats. The ghost instantly teleports and now stares at them from the top of the steps. The scared girls run out of the house screaming. They stop only for a second to turn around from the street. They can see the ghost girl walking across the left window on the top floor. It vanishes and then suddenly appears on the bottom floor in less than a second. They scream even louder and take off again. Customers are rummaging around this Austin, Texas pawn store when the doors fly open and a group of men rush through, faces covered. The leader takes out a mini sledgehammer and pounds on the glass of a jewelry case as everyone scatters. They take around $4,000 worth of jewels among other things, completely unconcerned about doing this in the middle of the day with plenty of witnesses, and flee the scene. Judging by the speed and coordination of this event, I have little doubt that they are professionals and probably do this a few times every month. Here you can see them at a different pawn store, and this is where the FBI needs your help. The person in the white hat is known only as Roy on the streets. He strolls up to the counter and reaches for something in his waistband. I was sure that he was going to try to take more jewels, but instead he unfurls a pouch full of jewelry to pawn. The FBI is giving $4,000 to anyone who has more information about this incident, or at least that was the total amount in 2012. They are probably more desperate to catch him by now, and the cash reward has probably gone up considerably all these years later. This faded family footage goes from heartwarming to horrifying when you realize what this father has done to become a wanted man with a $100,000 reward on his head. According to the FBI, this man extinguished his entire family, wife included, and then created a gas leak in the home. He lit a candle and the house went up in an instant to cover his tracks. This was back in 2001 and no traces of him have been uncovered. He is still on the top 10 most wanted list just in case. While the front of a restaurant is running like clockwork, behind the scenes, things are heating up. That's what happened to Zach Burrell, who was working at McDonald's in 2011 when a grease fire occurred. He published his video of heroism in October of 2011, noting that it was him putting the grease fire out and that he was poorly trained to do so. In the beginning of the video, you can see the flames spring up in the cooker. Then there's a mass panic in the kitchen, and workers start racing around, trying to figure out what to do. Every effort they make seems to throw heat on the flames, lighting it up more. Zach explains what happened. First, I pulled the wrong mounted extinguisher, and the grill was covered in liquid. Then one of my crew members tried putting an oily lid on top of the vat to cut the oxygen off. It fell in sideways and the flames doubled. In the end, Zach grabbed a fire extinguisher to douse the flames, but not before the entire kitchen filled with smoke, leaving a dramatic scene that could have led to lives being lost. Pretty crazy, he writes, but at least I saved the store. I analyzed a video a while back of a barefoot man with white eyes who is able to keep up with a speeding car. Since then, new footage of the encounter has appeared, and this time he is in the streetlight for a better look, and you even get to hear him speak. In this bonus footage, he says he's going to end their lives as he charges towards them. His voice is full of anger, and he is sprinting as fast as humanly possible. I counted no less than 8 running steps in approximately 2 seconds here. Watch this part in slow motion and tell me if I'm right. A few days ago, strange sounds started coming from an old shower stall in this house that Alejandro has not used in years. He wasn't sure if it was rats or something, so he went up there with a camera, and this scary sighting is what's been caught on video. "20 seconds after showing us nothing was in the shower, this ghostly figure presses against the glass, flies upwards and disappears. This almost has to be CGI because there are absolutely no editing cuts, and the way they fade away doesn't look like somebody simply stepping away from the glass. He reinvestigates and the shower is just as empty as before." Ghosts don't have to wait until nighttime before they can begin to haunt. As this Brazilian soccer footage shows, the crowd is happily cheering on their favorite team when suddenly a shadow ghost starts sprinting through all of them. Look closely and you'll notice how nobody tries to move out of the way. Even though a person is clearly running full speed at them, not a single person tries to pull their legs in or even bothers to look up. They are so concentrated on the game that they do not see, feel, or hear the ghost as it runs directly through the half-filled stadium in a straight line. You expect to see kids throwing temper tantrums at McDonald's, not grown adults. But this video goes to show that some of us never do grow up. The woman in the video stands pouting with her arms crossed at the counter. She was angry about her order, having returned her hamburger twice and demanded her money back. When the employee refused, the woman went and got a water dispenser and poured it out on the counter. She then pushed the cookie container off the counter as well. Still not satisfied, she picked up one of the yellow, slippery when wet warning signs and flung it across the counter, presumably at an employee. She also pushed all 3 registers over the counter. According to the police report, the employee then warned her that she was calling the police, and this woman took that as her cue to go. but not before cussing the employee out like a sailor. While mental health or anger issues may be responsible for her actions, it's sad to see that staff members have to face events like this. The SEMGHS ghost hunters record some interesting evidence of the paranormal during their investigation of a house in Waterford, Michigan. Nobody is anywhere near the doorway when this motion detector goes off, so tell me how this can happen.
This is my shadow. Oh, the motion went off.
Then when he says hello, the motion detector fades away as orbs fall.
Hello. Okay, what you are seeing right there lit up, that's the motion detector.
And as they are talking about what happened, a third voice chimes in with this creepy whisper.
Yeah. Plus the, it was the extender of the,
This crab fisherman caught more than he bargained for. Published by Casey's Spotlight. Believe it or not, this is a real thing that's swimming in the waters of our oceans. Known as a wolf eel, this super creepy species dwells in the North Pacific. With a tail that stretches some 8 feet, wolf eels often wrap themselves up into caves, launching out with their wolfish heads to snatch prey, usually shellfish, urchins, and crabs. With crabs crawling in the cage alongside him, this particular wolf eel appears to be mid-meal as there's something large in its mouth. The fishermen pull the object out of the eel's mouth. What do you think of this creepy creature? My advice? Steer clear of taking an icy dip in the North Atlantic. A YouTuber called Douglas Cash stands at the entrance of these caves in the Bahamas. The stunning scenery grows less colorful and more claustrophobic as he takes a few hesitant steps inside. Soon he finds himself staring down a tunnel that looks barely large enough to support a human when a wild shriek fills his ears. Listen to this and tell me what it could possibly be, animal or otherwise.
Well, you know I ain't going down yet, right?
Whatever it is, it sounds about medium-sized, but vicious enough to tear your throat out if given the chance. Even Douglas doesn't seem to recognize the menacing noise and decides not to go any deeper. But since he did come all the way out to this area by foot to do some exploring, he decides to hang around the cave entrance for just a bit longer. After all, it's brighter here, and he doubts whatever he heard is going to come out of the darkness. He explores for another 2 minutes or so, studying the natural rock formations and whatnot, and then decides to call it a day. But unknown to him, looking back at him from the darkness are 2 glowing eyes that quickly disappear, and if you listen closely, you can hear some kind of chittering language that could indicate a certain level of intelligence. Thank you so much for getting me to 10,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 20,000 subscribers next. Thank you.